and it's always very difficult. Sorry about the interruption in the broadcast there. We're going to try and get everybody back on as they're all in. Here we go. Grant's coming back.
No.
Hello, we're back live. We're back live.
Do you mind? I was just putting my food order in.
Oh, sorry. Carry on. You put your food order in. It's fine.
I was just rambling on then. Did we get cut off?
Yeah, we got cut off. It was a combination of green screen. I've got a split screen ready for waiting for the Chancellor Checker to come on, and it's raining, so I'm blaming all that. But as ever, we always push the technology to the limits, which is good. It's a good way of testing stuff. So, what have you ordered, Grant?
Chicken and pork, apparently. Well, anything that's not vegetarian was what was thrown at me. That's fine.
You're fine with that, aren't you? That's great. So we got to the bit.
Where did it cut off, Matt? Because
just where you were showing me about the bamboo and showing you what was outside the bamboo. It got cut off there.
What I wanted to talk about was this restaurant was actually the first Chinese restaurant in Chinatown in Birmingham.
Okay. Yeah.
So Chung Ying was started by Jimmy's father, who Jimmy's the guy that runs the restaurant, and there's another one on Colmore Row in Birmingham in the business district, which is the one that we frequent mostly because it's just around the corner from the office. Yeah. This was actually the first Chinese restaurant, and now Birmingham, we're very sort of proud Brummies to have a Chinatown that's full of authentic looking old school Chinese buildings. We've got the Arcadian Centre. There's loads of Chinese supermarkets. It's a really cool part of town, very sort of bohemian and just a great thing. And it all started here. This was the first restaurant, and now. Is
that the first ever Chinese restaurant? Oh, where's he gone? Oh, this is insane today, isn't it? Great! It's so exciting. As I said, that we are waiting for the Chancellor's Checker to come up and do his mid-summer speech. I suppose it's not a full account thing. I'm useless when I'm by myself. I'm trying to ad lib. Let's see where they are at the moment. They're not still. No, nothing's going on yet. It's actually question time that's happening there. So they're at Chung Ying in the centre of Birmingham with the Business Growth Network. And they've got Mark Linton, who's obviously one of our. Oh, you're back on again, Grant. Sorry, I was rambling on again about the Business Growth Network.
Sorry, I had a phone call come in.
No, that's no good. Okay, sorry, continue. You were talking about the restaurant being the first in Birmingham.
Yes, so this is where it all started, and we've got a really cool Chinatown in Birmingham, and this is where it all started. So it's got a lot of history to it. I think Andy's been coming here for what's getting on for half a century. He knows them all inside out. He's the guy that's,
that sounds a long time. I think it's probably about right. Yeah.
Andy and I have ended up in here many a time. In fact, I seem to recall, Matt, the last time you and I came here was when Prawngate took place.
Prawngate.
I
don't eat prawns. I don't like. I'm not a fishy person. Give me some meat any day, not a problem. But fish, I'm not a big fan. And because we'd all had a bit of a drink, Grant went on his little, empowering speech and everything, saying you can eat this prawn. Well, I did eventually eat the prawn, and then I was ill.
It's changed your life, hasn't it, mate? Let's face it.
Oh, completely. I'm now running and everything. That was a turning point in my life. So who do we have there today? Oh, you're such a motivational speaker. You're Mr. Motivator. That's the thing. That's it. So, is there anybody there we could speak to, or you want to say hello to, or are they all just shitty chuntering to yourselves? Is Andy around yet? Is Andy there yet?
He's bailed, hasn't he? He's got.
Has he?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's not feeling 100%. So he's decided to work from home.
Okay, fair enough.
I've got somebody here you might recognise. So sorry to interrupt you, ladies, but we're.
Hi.
Oh, not Maz.
Matt.
Couldn't you find anybody else? Morning, Maz. Afternoon.
We're
How are you,
broadcasting
Maz?
live at the moment. Would you mind answering a few questions? There you go, Matt. I will introduce you. There we
Hello.
go.
Okay.
It's Tracy Alter.
Good
I'm from
afternoon,
Blackburn
Tracy.
Solicitors. Hello, Matt.
How are you?
Do
You okay?
Do you want to do?
No,
I'm
mate.
fine.
You can.
It's
You
probably-
can. You carry. It's going to be easy if you do it because there's a slight
I've got to
delay.
do- Okay. All right. I've got to do social distancing, so we've got it. There we go.
I'll put you on full screen.
So what would be great to find out about is how solicitors have coped during lockdown.
Wow, we've done lots of different things. We have some of our staff have worked from home. Some of our staff have been furloughed, but we're slowly bringing some of those back. And people like me, I've gone into the office every single day through this lockdown. I've worked, not had one day where I've been able to work from home. But then you need someone at the office in order that people can work from home.
Yeah.
We still have, it's still an old-fashioned world in law. So yes, we can do Zoom meetings, we can do all of those things, but the law still states that you have to be in the presence of someone to sign a will.
Yeah.
And the witnesses have to be in the presence.
Yeah.
So we still had to go out and do home visits
Right.
to do wills. We've done all sorts of home visits from garden fences, through the kitchen door, through the kitchen window. So I've not, I've social distanced as much as I can, but I've still had to go out and see clients. And banks still send checks, building societies still send checks. So I've been toddling off to the bank every day, banking checks, because our cashiers have been working from home or furloughed. So yeah, it's been interesting times.
So no rest there then.
No rest. I'm desperate for a week's holiday. I just want a week at home to open a bottle of wine and not worry about tomorrow. I just would love a day off.
And do you see your trade, as it were, being affected negatively after we're out of the lockdown?
I think property's taking a little bit longer to come back, but then I believe the Chancellor's going to make an announcement today, possibly relaxing some of the stamp duty. So we'll have some very happy clients, hopefully after today. But no, things are picking up. We've picked up new clients through this because other firms weren't open.
Right.
We were.
Yeah.
So I had an email, I phoned them straight away. I set up a meeting with them straight away and got their work undertaken straight away. So there's been pluses and minuses, and I think if you've been around and you've been there, you've been able to get work.
I think that is a really positive message there, Matt, because throughout this whole thing, it's the businesses that have stepped up and been creative, and
that's right,
like Mark's doing today, that have actually seen, you've obviously had a day off, you've been really, really busy, and there'll be plenty of solicitors out there that just buried their head in the sand, hunkered down and said, I can't work.
And also not had a telephone service for their clients. They basically had a message on their website or an answer phone message that said, you need to contact the person that deals with your matter. And not every client had a contact number. And we had a similar, but they had me answering the phone and I would put them through, or I would take the call and get that person to phone them back. But either way, you've got to have a voice. People want a person to talk to. Sometimes they just want a person. They don't always want email, and they don't always want. And if you don't answer the phone, they'll go somewhere else. They'll go to the next person and we were there. So.
That's awesome. So there we go. Tracy Alsop. What's this called again?
Blackham Solicitors.
Blackham Solicitors. Get your will sorted with Tracy. She'll be there for you.
That's superb.
I'm sorry about the noise behind me. There's this really noisy bloke being videoed behind me.
Is that Mr. Linton again? Is it?
Booming voice.
It's interesting to see that there's a lot of people supporting it, which is fantastic, isn't it?
So we go networking with Mark's business. I mean, I've been doing it for a while now, and it's always great. I find it's always useful networking when you're socialising at the same time, so you make friends with people, and that's how business is done. Let's face it.
Definitely.
And not being able to do this kind of thing, it's definitely been frustrating. We've had to be more creative in the way that we do things. But now we're starting to come back. It's going to be interesting because normally at this point in the networking event, there'd be loads of people, but we've had to limit it to 10 people. And as Andy's bailed, that probably means there's going to be 9. So what have we got? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're probably only a couple of people short, and that'll be it. It's going to feel quite odd just having such a small, intimate group.
I feel like I want some Chinese food now, so I'm going to make myself some noodles and sit here and just watch it.
The table is set. The wine is on the table. Andy has actually said he'll donate his wine to me.
Oh, that's all right then. That's nice of him.
That.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
so you're sponsoring the event?
So Mark tells me. Yeah, that's normally what happens when I turn up. Because I don't read his emails very often.
Yeah, well, I saw that this morning. I thought, damn, not there to get Grant to buy the drinks.
Apparently, I'm sponsoring it twice.
Yeah. Do you have to do your little? Do you have to do a little speech? Show anything?
Yeah, we'll have to do. So the format for these networking is the first half an hour is kind of chit chat, introducing, meeting each other. Then Mark will do a little talk, a little overview, and then the sponsor will give a little sort of 5-minute chat. So I will just flog websites and apps to people blatantly.
Brilliant. That's fine.
5 minutes. So they're not leaving until they order one.
Keep them in the corner.
Yeah, and then we took in. Usually starts at 12, finishes at 2, and then apparently I'm sponsoring the after drinks as well, which is at the Canal House. So,
I've missed that now.
Yeah,
I wish I'd come out.
Today.
I'd wish that flaming corporate card's going to get hit today. Then Grant.
It is, yeah. I've just got myself a new American Express corporate card, so I can get
nice
BA air miles. I'll be stacking up the air miles today, mate.
Well, that's brilliant. Is there anybody else you can talk to before you zip off, or is there anybody else you're going to grab? Because that worked really well with the solicitor then.
Yeah. We've got a little group there. Would anybody be interested in having a quick chat about business live on air with the small business support group?
Business has been very difficult.
So what business is you in? What's your name and what's your business?
Ian Harrison, Grow House. I work doing supporting businesses through coaching, people skills training, people make their businesses a better place to work. Some of that is virtual, and most of it wasn't.
Right.
With the result then, probably 95% of work stopped.
Right.
In March.
Wow. And so, and has that been the case up until now, or have you started to?
So we've started to talk to people about stuff to do when they get their staff back into offices.
Yeah.
But that's probably still a few months away because they're going to get their staff back.
Yeah.
Settle down with their new normal before they're going to come to.
Wow. So how's that affected you? Has it meant that you've been sort of stuck at home, furloughed?
No, because it's my company, so I couldn't furlough.
Yeah.
And I did have 1 or 2 customers who wanted to keep going.
Right.
So I kept servicing them and I drive for us.
You drive for Asda as well? You're one of the heroes then.
Not sure about that.
Yeah.
It's been good because it's the theory was control what you can control. I've got lots of time on my hands.
Yeah.
I've got cash flow problem. Using time to sort the cash flow problem out. And then an anticipated piece was that it gets me out all through lockdown. I've been getting out of the house regularly.
Get driving.
I've been meeting new people.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably getting.
Well, you've been a godsend because thinking about my parents, for example, who have absolutely utterly relied on the deliveries, and there's been an unprecedented demand for them.
Yeah.
So well done, mate. That's
it's nice to be back in the suit.
But it is, yeah. And I have to say, is that it's your face mask? Is it?
Yes.
You're rocking it like a cravat.
Yes.
That looks cool, doesn't it?
That looks great.
When I first saw him, I thought, there's a stylish man there with his cravat on.
I thought it was a cravat as well.
No, it's a face mask. There we go.
Oh, brilliant.
That's cool, isn't it? And normally you'd get arrested for walking around like that, but you can actually. We're doing the bank job after this.
Excellent. That's brilliant, Grant. That's fantastic.
Thanks very much.
So, okay, Grant. What I'm going to do, I'll let you mingle because I've got a couple of things here to do. Chancellor Checker is about to stand up as well. So, if you want to jump in before past, just to say your farewells.
It's all going in the kitchen. All going on there in the kitchen.
I think it's social distancing there, isn't it? You need to stay away from there. That's excellent. Okay, well, will you go and mingle? Have a glass of wine because you're paying for it, and and then we'll come back to you.
A quick view of the sights of Chinatown.
Oh, that's quiet. That is.
Yeah. Well, it is tipping it down, and there we've
got
the
it is that. Yeah.
The Arcadian. Yeah, but it's I mean, the whole of town's like this, mate. It's been like it ever since I've been going in. You know, you'd kind of expect things to start getting a bit busier now, but they're not. They are not.
People are still very much protecting themselves, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. But yeah, you can see what they've done there a bit more.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay.
You see how it works, yeah. So that's where we normally go in. We normally go in there. And but
and to the left, isn't it? That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great job they've done there, isn't it?
Really good, isn't it? It's really good. Yeah, it's perfect. This, you know, when it's raining like this and it's not particularly cold.
Yeah.
But they've got an app. I need to have a chat with them about that. That's not one of my apps. But they're playing
that. What's going on?
Oh, I'm going, mate. That's it. I've had enough.
You need to get that sorted out, mate. That's disgusting. Okay, mate. If you can jump back in before past, that'd be great. But if not, don't worry. Go and enjoy yourself.
All right then. No worries.
Okay, I'll speak to you later.
Thanks, guys.
See ya. So that's Grant at Qing Yang there. He's in Qing Yang. I don't know. Was it?
Chung Ying, mate.
Chung Ying, that's it. That's it. I should have. It's all. Oh, listen. I nearly said it's all Chinese to me. So let's not do that. Okay, right. There's Chung Ying. Right. There it is. Chung Ying. See you, mate.
I'll say farewell. You want to say goodbye, guys?
See you, Maz. See you, Mark. Bye. See you, Grant. Speak to you later. Bye-bye. Bye. So there, Chung Ying. It's Chung Ying. That's where it's at. So we are still waiting for the Chancellor Exchequer to come up and start speaking. We're just going to go over to live there. I think it's still Boris Johnson talking away there. I do believe he's going to be on air at about 3 minutes' time. So that's they will probably be off air before he starts. But let's just have a look, see if there's any other headlines. Obviously, he's going to unveil the Kickstart program for 16 to 24-year-olds to get them working. Obviously, there's no details on this. This is just a few of the headlines that have come out. The stamp duty thing is going to be massive. Let's hope he can get the house, just the house business as such, or the market moving. It's going to be a huge thing if he's going to drop the stamp duty temporarily, because obviously people were saying those £2 million houses, that's a lot of money that was going to government. So let's hope that moves. He's also going to be talking about jobs and business. The loans and the grants that have been given out, which I think it's topping, is it 100 billion? Is it now 150 billion? They have worked very well, but it's fallen over as well. Certain banks, the fintech banks, which I've talked about for the past 10 weeks or so, have been struggling to get their funding in place, and it's Tide Bank, who I'm with, sent a lovely email yesterday from their CEO to say they're not doing it. They've stopped it, even though they were accredited on the 12th of May. They've now withdrawn everything, and they're not going to help anybody because they can't raise the money. That's just typical. Look, it's Darren, everybody. Where have you been?
Sorry, I'm late. Yeah, I have to do my real work, real world.
Oh, okay, then, fair enough. It was fine because Grant was in the Chinese restaurant for 20 minutes, just randomly grabbing people and talking to them.
What's up?
And there was one guy who was genuinely scared. I think he was.
I'm not surprised. Depends on the question.
Well, yes, it was, but it's so they're just about to sit down to eat there.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, we did have a
can't
few
watch
technical issues. You can't, yeah. I don't want to watch people eating. That's weird. What's your weather like down there today, down in Bude?
No, I wasn't good at this yesterday, but it's over. It's definitely overcast today and a little bit drizzly. Definitely drizzly, but not sunny and overcast.
Hammering down here.
Oh, no.
Absolutely hammering down, and it's they're sort of outside at the restaurant, but they've got a cover, so it's not too bad.
Good. Well, I'm glad to see they're suffering now. They're eating nice food. It's nice to know they're suffering a little bit with it as well. So,
well, that's the way it is.
I've been told that up in North Devon, it's 4-scale winds and loads of rain because my employee up there is trying to put chicken wire on obstacles, so she's enjoying that.
So how far? Where on North Devon is that? Is one of the other Segway places? Easy Glide. Sorry. How far up is that? Is that?
Yeah, it's about an hour and 20 from us. So yeah, it's Ilfracombe way. So
right at the entrance, really.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. So that weirdly, when I look at my map and look at my app, you can see the weather is significantly different. But Bude has a microclimate. It's a weird old place. I think for a few years in succession, we've had the most sunshine hours than anywhere else in the UK, which is nice. But I rarely get to see it. I'm not sure where it is at the moment.
Where it is today.
Absolutely.
No, it's pretty poor. So I was just talking to myself. Well, not to myself, but I was just reading some headlines off, which was obviously the Chancellor is about to stand up in the next few minutes, and he's talking about he's pledging $2 billion. Oh, he keeps getting these billions from somewhere, doesn't he? A program to kickstart jobs for the 16 to 24-year-olds, and also they are going to announce they're going to temporarily hold the stamp duty, which is a massive money spinner for them.
Like you say, I'm bemused where all this money's coming from. And don't get me wrong, I'm happy, but there's a part of me that thinks that are we going to have a massive drop at some stage where we all feel the pain? We look at going back over the years. I'm not going to turn into Andy, but when you look at the how Labour, we've blamed Labour for so many years for spending and borrowing and this, that, and the other. It feels like we're there, doesn't it? It feels like we're finding these pockets of billions left, right, and centre.
Well, I think it's something I read this morning. It's £310 billion has been lent out, including what's happening today, and he's got to claw that back at some point. It's
absolutely,
it's insane, you know. It's but it's there. I suppose it's there. It's got to help, isn't it? We've got to help the situation. But I was just saying that the my Tide Bank.
I was just going to ask that. I was just going to ask.
They sent an email out last night, and they've withdrawn bounce back. They've stopped doing it.
Oh God,
they can't raise any more money. They said they can't find any more money anywhere, and the grief they have had it's been horrendous on social media because they're quite an active social media bank because it's a modern fintech, and they have been slated. Now, on the back of this, because I sort of had an inkling about a week ago. Actually, Andy said that they'd run out of money to lend. Because they can't lend their own money, they can't lend their own the money that's invested in them from people who've got accounts because they're not an official bank, so they can't lend people money out. So they have to go and find the money for somewhere else, and no one will give them the money. Now, it's weird because you read a lot of this stuff saying, oh well, you surely if you're going to borrow £100 million from somebody, 1% of 100 million to get paid back over time is a good figure and it's worth an investment, but there's no one out there to do it. And they're
government backed. Do you think that the risk is minimal? It's absolutely minimal. I understand it any other way. You'd be thinking actually the risk. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people going to default on these loans.
Of course they are.
Absolutely sure of that. But on the flip side, well, the government's standing them up. So how can they not find the money?
It is insane, and there's lots of comments saying, my Siri keeps coming on this morning. There's lots of people saying the Russian mafia aren't investing in them anymore because there's connections with the Russian mafia with this bank.
So you bank with the Russian mafia? Great, love it.
I'm not sure. Anyway. I have now applied to Metro Bank. I don't know if you've heard of Metro Bank.
Yeah.
It's a new sort of co-American owns modern bank. Their banks aren't called banks; they're called stores, and they operate 7 days a week. They're open 7 days a week, and they really have a fresh approach to it. They are a proper bank now, and so I applied to them a couple of weeks back to get, because I thought if Tide's going to fall over, that's all I bank with. So I've got a meeting with them next week on Wednesday, and they're all very good. They're all very email based, and they'll phone and talk to you and everything. So it's not like they're hidden away. You've got the manager's email address and mobile number. That's quite cool.
Yeah,
so and if you look at any of the bounce back reports, this is the bank that's not had zero. It's had zero complaints on. Is Siri again? Sorry.
I know HSBC has been awful. I know that they've had some serious complaints. And like you say, there's not many out there that hasn't fallen over through the rush of people through the door. But for me, because it's a secondary business and not one that's going to put bread and butter on the table, I'm not impacted so much. But I know so many people, like, I don't know about yourself, Matt, but so many people are dependent. The only way they can get through is on them loans. So it's so sad that the likes of certain banks that are letting people down. It's incredible, because it is a different make it or break for lots of people.
It is, and it's I know there's a lot of people taking the proverbial over this and borrowing 50 grand, and they're not saying they're not going to pay it back. But there are actually legit people, who are taking them. Well, not desperate for it, but they want to invest in their own business.
Absolutely.
And I've got a plan. I've got a folder and a plan. If whatever I can get to, if I do get to borrow, then I've got a whole structure of what I'm going to do. And it's not spending it on holidays or extensions or anything like that. It's investment into the business. And there's lots of people like myself who just can't get access to it because everybody else has shut the doors now. Barclays have shut down. Everybody else has shut down. I think Clydesdale Bank. I thought that was a building society, but Clydesdale Bank are going to. They're accepting. I have tried to apply with them, and I'm going to hear back with them in the next few days. But they're just everybody's shut the doors, because there's so many people trying, and which shows there's still an issue out there.
Yeah,
that people still need the cash. But there we go. It's we'll see what happens. My couch to 5K run this morning was awful. I've been trying to keep it a secret.
Oh, right. Are you at the run stage or walk stage still? Or
I'm at the run. I'm run stage now.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's I hate Joe Wiley. I don't know if anybody knows this.
I've never liked
choose it. Yeah. Oh, I like her. Well, I used to. But you can choose whoever you want to talk to you as your motivation. I'm not a runner, as you know. And usually when I'm running, people start panicking because they think, well, what the hell's going on? So
my video.
That's it. But yeah, that's interesting. But there we go. We'll keep going with that.
But I've got you through it then, Matt, because I have to say, and I would like to have another go at it myself, because I did it a couple of years ago, and it was with a band of youngsters, and I was feeling the pressure. So and not only that, I was out most weekends drinking with them whilst I was playing. So I thought, if I want to drink and eat, I have to do exercise if I don't want to just balloon up. But why I started to suffer was joints and my knees, and I had an ankle injury, and because of age, it doesn't help. And I got to such a great stage where I was actually getting up in the mornings, and it was the start of my mornings. I hated getting up, hated the start, and loved it when I got back. I felt invigorated for it, but my joints won't let me do it. I sort of don't, it's a killer.
Well, it's a sort of, you have to go. I'm not an expert at this, but it's by far, 2 weeks in, but you just have to take your own pace, because I've been heavily affected by gout over the years, which I've had for years and years and years. And I'm now on a daily tablet. Never not had any for years, and it's much better. And my joints are only starting to repair now, because it does damage it quite badly. All I can say is just my one knee. I suffer. Oh God, what am I talking about this for live on air? Housewife's knee. I suffer from. I don't know if you've ever heard that.
No.
It's that I never heard of it as well. Till the doctor told me. It's housewife's knee is based because housewives in the olden days. I'm not talking about now. Before we get any messages, used to be on their knees a lot, cleaning, cleaning, and and that's that, and you get a little infection and swelling in the pouch, which is just below your knee. And I've suffered from that for years and years and years. Since I laid a laminate flooring, when I laid a laminate flooring in my conservatory, and that's what triggered it. So there you go.
I guess I can't recall them days where you're on your knees much, Matt, to be honest. So I don't know. It's not historical then. It was a one-off event.
No, it's a one-off event. It is. It is. Right. The Chancellor's just stood up. So, Sorry, Darren. Do apologise. If you're more than welcome to zip off or stay along and watch it. We're going to leave it broadcasting in the background. Darren, I'll speak to you tomorrow if I don't speak to you later. And we'll see you soon.
See you soon. Cheers. All. Bye.
To protect, support, and create jobs. It will give businesses the confidence to retain and hire, to create jobs in every part of our country, to give young people a better start, to give people everywhere the opportunity of a fresh start. Where problems emerge, we will confront them. Where support is justified, we will provide it. Where challenges arise, we will overcome them. We entered this crisis unencumbered by dogma, and we continue in this spirit, driven always by the simple desire to do what is right. Mr. Speaker, before I turn to our plan for jobs, let me first outline the nature of the challenge. Our economic response to coronavirus is moving through 3 phases. In the first phase, beginning in March, the government announced social distancing measures and ordered businesses to close, halting the spread of the disease. We put in place one of the largest and most comprehensive economic responses in the world. Our £160 billion plan protects people's jobs, incomes, and businesses. We supported more than 11 million people and jobs through the job retention and self-employment schemes, alongside billions of pounds for the most vulnerable. We supported over 1 million businesses to protect jobs through tax cuts, tax deferrals, direct cash grants, and over 1 million government-backed loans. And we supported public services with new funding for the NHS, schools, public transport, and local authorities. In total, we have now provided £49 billion to support public services since this crisis began. Analysis I'm publishing today shows our interventions significantly protected people's incomes, with the least well-off in society supported the most. And this crisis has highlighted the special bond which holds our country together. Millions of people in Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland have been protected by the UK government's economic interventions, and they will be supported by today's plan for jobs. No nationalist can ignore the undeniable truth. This help has only been possible because we are a united kingdom. Mr. Speaker, 4 months on, as we carefully reopen our economy, we are entering the second phase of our economic response. Despite the extraordinary support we've already provided, we face profound economic challenges. World economic activity has slowed, with the IMF expecting the deepest global recession since records began. Household consumption, the biggest component of our economy, has fallen steeply. Businesses have stopped trading and stopped hiring. Taken together, in just 2 months, our economy contracted by 25%, the same amount it grew in the previous 18 years. And the Independent Office for Budget Responsibility and Bank of England are both projecting significant job losses, the most urgent challenge we now face. I want every person in this House and in the country to know that I will never accept unemployment as an unavoidable outcome. We haven't done everything we have so far, just to step back now and say, job done. In truth, the job has only just begun. Mr. Speaker, if the first phase of our economic response was about protection, and the second phase, the phase we're addressing today, is about jobs, there will come a third phase where we will rebuild. My right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, has set out our vision to level up, unite the country, spread opportunity, and repair and heal the wounds exposed through this crisis. I can tell the House we will produce a budget and spending review in the autumn. And we will deal too with the challenges facing our public finances. Over the medium term, we must and we will put our public finances back on a sustainable footing. In other words, our plan for jobs will not be the last action. It is merely the next in our fight to recover and rebuild after coronavirus. Mr. Speaker, let me now turn to the detail of our plan for jobs. Central to our economic response has been the Jobs Retention Scheme. Furlough has been a lifeline for millions, supporting people and businesses to protect jobs. But it cannot and should not go on forever. I know that when furlough ends, it will be a difficult moment. I'm also sure that if I say the scheme must end in October, critics will say it should end in November. If I say it should end in November, critics will just say December. But the truth is, calling for endless extensions to the furlough is just as irresponsible as it would have been back in June to end the scheme overnight. We have to be honest. Leaving the furlough scheme open forever gives people false hope that it will always be possible to return to the jobs they had before. And the longer people are on furlough, the more likely it is their skills could fade and they will find it harder to get new opportunities. It is in no one's long-term interest for the scheme to continue forever, least of all those trapped in a job that can only exist because of a government subsidy. So the furlough will wind down flexibly and gradually, supporting businesses and people through to October. But while we can't protect every job, one of the most important things we can do to prevent unemployment is to get as many people as possible from furlough back to their jobs. So today, we're introducing a new policy to reward and incentivize employers who successfully bring furloughed staff back, a new jobs retention bonus. If you're an employer and you bring someone back who was furloughed and you continuously employ them through to January, we will pay you a £1,000 bonus per employee. It is vital that people aren't returning just for the sake of it. They need to be doing decent work. So for businesses to get this bonus, the employee must be paid at least £520 on average in each month from November to January, the equivalent of the lower earnings limit in national insurance. The House should understand the significance of this policy. We will pay the bonus for all furloughed employees. So if employers bring back all 9 million people who have been furloughed, this would be a £9 billion policy to retain people in work. Our message to business is clear. If you stand by your workers, we will stand by you. Mr. Speaker, the furlough was the right policy to support people through the first phase of this crisis. But now, in this new phase, we need to evolve our approach. Today, I want to set out for the House a new 3-point plan for jobs. We need to first support people to find jobs. Second, create jobs. And third, protect jobs. Mr. Speaker, let me start with supporting jobs, and in particular, the help we want to provide for those who will be hardest hit by this crisis, younger people. Over 700,000 people are leaving education this year. Many more are just starting out in their careers. Coronavirus has hit them hard. Under 25s are 2.5 times as likely to work in a sector that has been closed. We cannot lose this generation, so today I am announcing the Kickstart Scheme, A new program to give hundreds of thousands of young people in every region and nation of Britain the best possible chance of getting on and getting a job. The Kickstart scheme will directly pay employers to create new jobs for any 16 to 24-year-old at risk of long-term unemployment. These will be new jobs, with the funding conditional on the firm proving these jobs are additional. These will be decent jobs, with a minimum of 25 hours per week paid at least the national minimum wage, and they will be good quality jobs, with employers providing Kickstarters with training and support to find a permanent job. If employers meet these conditions, we will pay young people's wages for 6 months plus an amount to cover overheads. That means for a 24-year-old, the grant will be around £6,500. Employers can apply to be part of the scheme from next month, with the first Kickstarters in their new jobs this autumn. And I urge every employer, big or small, national or local, to hire as many Kickstarters as possible. Today, I'm making available an initial £2 billion, enough to fund hundreds of thousands of jobs. And I commit today, there will be no cap on the number of places available. We can do more for young people. Traineeships are a proven scheme to get young people ready for work. We know they work, so for the first time ever, we will pay employers £1,000 to take on new trainees, with triple the number of places. To support 18 to 19-year-olds leaving school or college to find work in high-demand sectors like engineering, construction and social care, we'll provide £100 million to create more places on level 2 and 3 courses. And the evidence says careers advice works, so we will fund it, with enough new careers advisors to support over 250,000 more people. We will also expand our universal skills offer. Sector-based work.
Thanks to watching the small business support group this afternoon. We're going to leave it there because this is going to go on for a little bit longer than we thought, and we've got the numbers that we thought was going to happen with the new job system. So that is it for today. We will see you tomorrow at midday. See you soon. Bye bye.